So I feel I need to clarify this even more so because I had to get it in my head how to clarify the point of vaccines and why they weren't as controversial when they first came out and why they're very controversial now. So humans don't realize that 100 years ago, bodies were very different. They were stronger. They had certain viral programming that they understood and could accept the programming and still function. It was some of the minor viruses out there that caused people to have a little bit more aggressive energy, which is evolution more than they can handle. And so it would cause some of the more aggressive would cause mini pandemics or epidemics. Um, some of the minor viruses would just be like a flu or a cold. But remember the flu pandemic of 1918, okay? The flu pandemic was such an aggressive upgrade that many people who were at a deficit died from it. And so we heard about the 1918 flu pandemic. They were wearing masks at the same time, that we were wearing masks. And people were getting, they were dying or they were dying from heart attacks and strokes. And so all vaccines are safe. But the thing is that no matter what, people don't want to feel evolution. They want to be in relative equilibrium. Well, right now, myself and my dog are in relative equilibrium. We earned this position because we had to go through the fire of feeling mucus. We had to go through the fire of feeling itchy. We had to go through the fire of feeling all of our predispositions, that latent programming that wasn't allowed to take because of all the cures that we were on. Okay, in the holistic allopathic world, finally we're able to come to surface and code. Okay? And so viruses were never meant to be dangerous. They were meant to stop evolution, and they were meant to demonize viruses. What would cause a pandemic? Viruses. What causes heart attacks, strokes, cancer, disease, and chronic illness? Viruses. Autoimmune disorders? Viruses. And then when you're trying to cut in and hack into someone's immune system and cause a different type of programming to then go and program your innate immune system to create antibodies for your adaptive immune system to then go and find the algorithms that were programmed called antigen to go find that genetic material that the body is weaponized against. They don't want, like, the body is programmed to think that the newest virus based upon the vaccine, okay, is the enemy, and so it creates antibodies against it. And then sickness is the body trying to evolve. Why people are constantly sick? Because the body is trying to constantly evolve. Why no one wants to feel sick? Because it gets in the way of their life. At some point, when you're so much at a deficit, it won't matter if it's a vaccine that does an action that will cause an equal or opposite reaction. It won't matter if it's a vaccine or if it's a virus or if it's electricity or if it's a crowd. Like, I read some of the Facebook posts about 8 people died at the Houston Astro World concert. And it was the surge of energy of people trampling on each other. And so how does 8 people die? Whether it's from a heart attack, from being trampled on, because that's a lot of voltage. When you have a very highly piezoelectric virus in the environment, whether or not you're vaxxed or not, it doesn't even matter. That amount of electricity on bodies that have predispositions and are dealing with a new virus in the environment, it's going to tax vital organs, and it's going to cause people to have a surge of energy. Just the other day, I had a surge of energy from being exposed to a virus. Imagine being in a concert venue. Holy shit. The adrenaline, the anxiety, the destructive, whatever it is that you hold that you're trying to release will get released in those types of venues, and then people are going to surge. They're gonna have too much voltage for their adapter, and that's when the body's then go on overload. They glitch, they get too much energy, and then it causes the vital organs to fizzle out or burn up. I mean, you've seen wrong adapters being applied to outlets, and you saw that it starts fires. When you have the wrong adapter to the wrong amount of energy applied to it, it overheats. Okay? And so you have to understand that no, vaccines aren't the issue. It's the body's at a deficit. When your body's at a deficit, it won't matter if it's a vaccine or the virus or electricity or a surge of energy from a crowd. It's how you react to the energy when you have an initial action like a vaccine or a virus, that is targeting you and you're exposed to it, and now you have to deal with it. And so that's the issue, is that everyone is individually responsible on how they deal with their deficits. And so you have an option. If you can't you can't deal with the aggressive energy, potentially a vaccine could mitigate the heat. But even getting the vaccine will also cause an equal or an opposite reaction. Even being exposed to a virus, it's all physics, will cause an equal or opposite reaction. When you go to hang out with large crowds, family and friends, that exposure will cause an equal or opposite reaction. And if you don't really know how this works, you will be caught unaware and very surprised at how your body reacts. And so that's why they say that the vaccines don't seem to work, because bodies are at a deficit. They're still going to go and hang out with all their friends and family and go to concert venues. And they don't know they can't handle that high voltage on that small adapter, which is themselves. And they overload, they overheat. And then the body just shuts down because it's too much energy for the body can handle, because it's lack of insulation. And when you have lack of insulation around your heart, around your lungs, around your liver, around your brain, then all that voltage, all that energy being foisted upon you in that immediate area is going to then destroy you. And so, vaccines, I didn't understand this until actually the last couple days, because I'm just like, what is the deal? Why does everybody say the vaccines don't work? Oh, they work for people who are relatively strong and don't want to feel don't want to feel aggressive symptoms, and so they'll have milder symptoms. But what it could have been, they averted disaster, but now they're at a deficit. Now they're going to be a long hauler. Okay, if the vaccine didn't work on you, you probably couldn't handle the virus in its natural environment. So if you can't handle the vaccine, most for sure you couldn't handle the virus. If you get a reaction from a vaccine, the reaction from the virus would have been 10 times as worse. And so you want to get some kind of reaction because it shows that you're evolving. But now how do you deal with that evolution? Well, you can't be taking your antibiotics and your pills and your powders and your supplements and your detoxes. You can't be doing J juice all the time. Okay, those that are in a cured state are not going to survive a dynamic environment. And so no matter what, you have to feel the heat. I was out today hanging with different people. I wasn't wearing a mask. Nobody was wearing a mask around me. I'm in Ohio. And every single time I'm around people, at some point, I will feel the heat. I will feel the sweating. It might be less and less. My dog's going to have to deal with it. I can't sequester her. I'm not going to put myself in a hermetically sealed environment when I'm around her. She's going to have to deal with the heat. I'm not going to put her on drugs. I'm not going to put her on anti-seizure medication if that's one of her symptoms. I'm not going to boil her in fucking flea medication. Okay? She doesn't have as many fleas as a couple years ago. But remember, you're not supposed to get rid of all the parasites. You're supposed to have viruses, parasites, protozoa, proteins, fungus, and bacteria. She's not itching exponentially, and she's not like in a cured state. She's the way she's supposed to be. She's exactly the way she's supposed to be. And so you're supposed to be living symbiotically with your environment. You're not supposed to resist your environment. And if your environment calls for you to upgrade, you're supposed to feel it. You're not supposed to stop it. I don't care what it is. You're not supposed to stop it. In the beginning of the JJ mentality, we were heading towards a cured state because you had to feel the evolution. That's why 50% of the people doing the JJs hated me, thought I caused all their diseases. No, you already had them in you, and you had to deal with the energy of actually living. I was actually bringing you back to life. The other half that had diagnosable conditions like cancer and disease and autoimmune disorders, they loved me because they had aggressive proteins that needed to be quelled, and the JJ quelled the aggressive proteins. So that's why there was a lot of testimonies on people who had cancer. But those somewhere in the middle, they were still dealing with stuff, feeling a little bit of relief here and there, intermittent relief, feeling the pain, intermittent relief, feeling the pain. And that's the way it's supposed to be until your body reverses all the issues. But you still have to upgrade to the level of your environment. And you're around 7 billion fucking people. That means that every time you go out, it doesn't mean you're going to have a heart attack or a stroke every single time if that's in your predispositions. Eventually that will get reversed, but you're still going to feel the layers of other issues that you haven't dealt with until those get dealt with. And then you still got to feel the heat of the energy, the tingling, like I feel now, not now, but now when I'm around people who have different variants, I cough a little bit. I was coughing today a little bit when I was at somebody's garage because I was outside and I was drinking coffee and stuff. But I didn't feel any tingly heat. I wasn't sweating inside the restaurant. I wasn't sweating at the garage. I wasn't sweating at the grocery store. I might be sweating tonight when everything is said and done, but I know that's because I was out today. But that's what you will eventually graduate to, is where when you go to different venues that you haven't been to before, and there's people who have different variants coughing into the wind, it's not going to be a major deal. You'll feel it. But it's not going to take you down. I remember a couple of months ago, every time I would go out, I would have to take like a day or so to recover from going out to Walmart. Well, that was part of the process of me acclimating to all the variants of the COVID-19 in my environment. Now myself and my dog are pretty much up to the level of the environment, but who's to say there's not going to be another more aggressive virus on top of what's already going on? And I'm prepared for that. I'm prepared for another seizure from her if that's supposed to happen. I'm prepared for me to feel sweating again and maybe feeling tired. I already have that factored into my lifestyle. I gained a few pounds so I can handle the shock waves and I can handle the cold. I was hungry this morning. We went to Bob Evans and I ate all of my breakfast. Okay? And I inhaled it. I was obviously hungry. And so you're going to feel hungrier in this type of dynamic environment because you're burning more resources. You're going to have resources on reserve because you'll be burning through resources so fast that you have to have resources on reserve. If you don't, you will waste away to nothing. And when you're skinny, guess what's going to be cannibalized? Your vital organs. See, those that want to look cute in this environment, that's great looking cute. And you want to be all skinny meany with a six-pack and hardly any fat, it's not going to help you in this new world. That was the old world. You want to maintain a very slight weight, you need the insulation because these viral transducers will do a number. And those of you that are very underweight, skinny mini, using the J juice to alleviate any symptoms because you don't want to feel pain, you won't survive a heart attack because you won't have any insulation to deal with it. If you're afraid to eat, or if you are eating and doing a bunch of J juice and you're not coating and you don't have enough on reserve, if you don't have enough in your belly or in your butt or in your boobs or your thighs, you probably don't have enough around your heart, around your brain, around your lungs. And so you're sitting duck to be cannibalized by the environment. You got to have something on reserve. Okay? This is not the time to be skinny mini. And so I just, want to give you a fair warning that it's very aggressive out there. And those that don't feel anything because you're in a cured state, you're either doing a lot of J juice or you're taking your antibiotics or your elderberry syrup or other types of cures because you don't want to feel shit. When you don't want to feel shit, you won't know when the body is not going to have enough resources to handle another shockwave of a viral transducer. You'll just die. It'll be like the rapture. It'll just be like, bam, done. Because when you feel something, it lets you know there's something going on and you have to feed that heat. If you don't feel anything, then it's like you're taking away your nerve endings. And so you don't feel when you have a cut. That's what happens when someone's elderly. When they don't feel getting cuts, it's because they don't have enough collagen, because their skin is so papery. They're like, oh shit, I'm bleeding. They don't even know they were bleeding because they didn't feel the pain. So when you don't feel any pain or feel any type of symptoms, you won't know when your heart is going to beat the last time. You won't know because you'll be in a cured state, and then a viral transducer that you're not aware of is going to be too much of a surge. And that's the danger of being in a cured state. You won't know when to protect yourself because you don't feel shit. And that's the scariest place to be. So if you fancy yourself all cured and not feeling anything, you look cute, and everyone, is bowing down to you because you look cute and you have hardly any fat in your body and you're not feeling any symptoms, well, you're going to pay for that. You will pay for that tenfold. Because everybody right now in a cured state, like the athletes, because they're using exercise as a way to use endorphins to numb them from feeling anything. And then guess what? They don't survive viral surges. And so there was a post on my wall that was taking into account all the different athletes in the UK that were dying on the field from heart attacks, from strokes. And they're like, what? There's this pattern. They want to blame it on the vectors, of course. But the pattern is that athletes are numb to pain because the amount of endorphins they use to numb them, so they feel great, but they don't feel any pain. And if they do feel pain, they find ways to stop it with whatever. But at some point when an athlete is that immune to feeling evolution, the endorphins kick in all the time. And so when athletes can go miles and miles and miles running, they're putting so many miles, they're destroying themselves. They're putting miles on their body. They're aging themselves exponentially. And so not feeling pain, you won't know when your last breath or your last heartbeat is going to be because you're numb. So, bye.